To my channel. Today we're going to be editing some Kodak Gold 120. I'm going to turn off Spotify real quick so I can get a better read on the situation here. All right, so we're going to be editing some Kodak Gold 120 that was shot in studio with a flash, and we got some other photos from the summer, but these are the top shots from my one Kodak Gold roll that I brought to a digital shoot for a model agency testing. I decided to shoot flash on the Mamiya 645-1000S with just a regular D-word trigger, and as well as that, we also hooked up the flash to this small Sekonic by wire. Got to take good readings. So overall, we've got pretty balanced flash shots here from the Mamiya 645-1000S. All right, so today. This is the second time I've opened this folder. I haven't edited these images yet because I've been working on the digitals. However, immediately I'm looking at these and I'm loving the lateral here. She's wearing all black with dark black hair, and we've got a lot to work with. Her skin's come out. It's pretty flat, looking pretty nice. The white in the background, that was a white backdrop, that's looking pretty good. Kind of fall into the grays there with the scan process, but that's kind of what we want. So immediately I'm looking at this and I'm just like, all right, let's bring the blacks back into the equation here. Not too much. I'm looking at the histogram at the top right here. I'm also looking at my image. I also have to understand that this isn't going to be a digital shot, right? So it's like if the blacks are exposed and there's a lot of data there, we don't actually want to make them like super black. We want to make sure that the darkest parts are black. Obviously bringing my whites up, looking at the face, looking at the eyes, the whites of the eyes in comparison to the white background. I'm liking that balance. I'm going to bring my shadows down to kind of hopefully take some of the greens out of the blacks here and kind of make it a more serious image. All right. I'm loving it. Okay. I'm going to bring my highlights up just because my gut's telling me to. I almost like that. Hold up, so that's before, that's after. Yeah, I like the highlights there. This is sort of looking like kind of like a glamorous shot now. It's kind of looking super glam, super white, kind of nice and polished. One thing I am noticing is the face is just that little bit out of focus. Let's see if I can zoom in there. I'm using a new keyboard with the Mac, and so it's just giving me a lot of static. Yeah, it's looking like the face is a little bit out of focus there, and it's probably because my Mamiya 645 has been in a suitcase a lot recently, traveling between countries, and the Fresnel lens probably needs to be adjusted. The height needs to be adjusted so that I get an accurate focus reading, and I can calibrate that again. Okay, so I'm liking where the light is. I'm liking the natural greens appearing in the darker shades, and I'm liking her face. I'm liking the balance. So I'm thinking like, all right, if green is the way that this color wants to go, that this film wants to go, let's see if we can just give it some greens by way of yellow. Right? Okay, that's too much. This is like early 2000s music video right after the Blade 3 premiere. Look at that. That's crazy. Whoa. This is honestly kind of sick. If this were my own project and it wasn't a test, I might actually look into stuff like this. But kind of going for normal stuff here. So I don't want to botch it too much. So looking at that, I'm going to bring the curves up, kind of reintroduce some blues into the space, kind of clear the palette. As you can see, the greens and the pants they've kind of shifted away, it's taking the yellows out. But I don't know if we want to make this photo too sterile. I was liking the subtle warmth of the greens and yellows in the shadows, so we're going to reintroduce those with a little bit more control. So the difference isn't too big. It's not that noticeable, but it's more of an intuitive thing. You know, it's like I can feel the photo as opposed to looking at it. I'm actually really liking that. I'm, I'm liking, you know, I like how the Kodak Gold does resonate really well with the green and warmer hues. I had someone tell me that Kodak Gold, just because it's called gold, doesn't mean it makes yellow photos, and I agree with them for the most part, but in this case, it's really the greens and the yellows are really coming out. Okay, so I'm liking this. I'm not going to overcomplicate things. I think we're kind of getting to the point where we're just stewing and making silly adjustments. So let's see the before and after. That's viable. That's totally doable for me. The only thing I probably change is contrast on the face, which I might bring this into Photoshop to do. But like, see something more like that, where the face has got a little bit more dynamism going on, whereas right there it looks a little bit flat. You know, you're kind of just relying on the eyes to pull you in, but apart from that, the whole rest of the face kind of just blends in. Whereas there we've got a lot more going on, which we actually might stick with that. We can always come back, but I'm thinking that's a pretty good look. So from there, like, okay, so we got similar lighting, same thing. So obviously, if you know, I'm not gonna bullshit you guys. I'm just gonna copy and paste, and it's a different photo. I gotta say, it is a different photo. Um, so that's the exact same settings. I was probably twice the distance away using a 50 millimeter, well, technically 80 millimeter lens on the Mamiya 645. And due to the inverse square law, my camera didn't pick up nearly half as much as the reflection off her face from the flash that was right over my right shoulder taking this, which means that I don't have to bring my shadows too far down to get what I need, nor the blacks. I'm gonna boost that contrast. I'm actually gonna boost exposure. There's the face. See, the face is coming out. The only problem with bringing the face out is we're actually bringing a lot of the green out in the darks right there. So we're going to adjust here and push those greens out, and boom, look at that. These pants are literally, they're like solar panels for the color yellow and green. It's amazing. Look at this. Boop, boop. Like everything else is so much more subtle, but those pants are just like, what's up? You like green? Let's go. So I'm going to compare that shot to this shot because we kind of want to go with the same flow here. Excuse me. I overestimated how much green I didn't want, so we're going to reintroduce a little bit more. So looking at the pants there, compared to the pants here, it's pretty similar. I'm looking at the stool now. That stool's really bothering me. I wish that stool was black or white and just you know, see-through even, but Ooh. So taking the yellows out is kind of a vibe. It doesn't seem to affect the skin tones too much. Because really, when you mess with the oranges and the yellows in terms of saturation, you really don't want to like overdo it because otherwise you'll leave the face blotchy where yellow is supposed to be, and instead you've got gray pixels surrounded by orange. So that also might be something I do in Photoshop where I just isolate this with a mask and bring its saturation down. But food for thought, I think it looks pretty good. I'm going to throw a little bit more blue tint on there. Bring the yellows up because I like that clean look. I'm going to mimic it here. I'm going to bring those yellows up because I like that clean look. And these are looking pretty good. All right, so I'm going to copy from this guy, move it over here. You probably noticed that I am making the same edits and like keeping track of everything along the way. So most of the time, if it's digital, I'll spend like 30 minutes on a single photo, knowing that I took the rest of the photos in similar settings. And then I'll like make my grade, I'll build up my edit, and then I'll automate that for the rest of the things and tweak here and there. But for film, it's kind of the same thing, but I also think film has a lot more pushback when it comes to editing like film helps guide you to where the edit needs to go. Rather, it's not like digital where you can force the edit on the film. So right out the bat, after copying and pasting these edits onto the third shot here, I'm already liking it. What I'm not liking is kind of like, it looks like she's floating, which is kind of cool, but I think we overdid it because the legs here on the stool are very non-symmetrical in terms of how they're illuminated with the light above and below the feet or the shoes there. All right, so let's do that. And how do we rectify this? Is it highlights? Damn, the highlights look really good on her. Well, I might just do that on Photoshop. Sorry. I should also mention that I don't really ever use Lightroom too much. I've just got all the other edits on Photoshop, and I wanted to make a quick video for these guys. But loving her form, loving her posture, loving the balance, loving the triangles in her arms, the polygons, triangles, but underneath, you know, from the crack of the knee, triangle, 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 triangle. We even got a nice triangle between her hair, her shoulder here, and her face. So when in doubt, create triangles. So I'm going to copy this guy. I'm going to paste it over here. Ooh, see, here we go. We're right back again, close to the face. We've got a lot more light reflecting off the face and everything because the camera is twice as close to her. So since we got another close shot and we want it to look somewhat like that, we're going to copy and paste these settings. Go here, boom. Immediately, much better. However, we could boost the contrast because her face just fell flat. And we do not want this. Look at that. Let's bring it out. I love the contrast. I'm going to bring up the shadows here because I don't want to lose so much detail in the shirt or the hair. And then let's bring up blues. And then this color right here is extraordinarily distracting. There's more saturation right there than there is in the rest of the photo, it looks like. So, ooh, yeah, you see that? It completely changes her face. And yeah, so as soon as you desaturate a face and desaturate the yellows in those pixels, any color layer or any color adjustments you do after desaturating that are just going to look weird from there on out. So it's not worth it. It really isn't worth it. I'll do that in Photoshop. I'll mask it in Photoshop. I'm sure there's a way to do that in Lightroom, but I don't like the software that much. Okay, so I'm liking this. I'm going to compare this to this shot just real quick, looking at what's going on. A lot of gray area here, a lot of color, and same here. But here in the pants here, you can see that there's a lot more blue. So it's just a fine little boop. Let's see. A little more, just a little. Okay, what about the hair? Is the hair the same color? Hair is near enough the same color. This doesn't nearly have as much dynamic range as her hair here. But that's what we got. All right, so, you know, I'm really not liking the way this photo came out. This might be one of those things where I'm going to have to mask the face and give it separate light adjustments to the body because the face is way too exposed. All right, we're going to move on from that. We're going to bring the contrast down just a wee bit. Look at that. Look at that. Okay, this is still such a much warmer photo. It's honestly, it's got to be this. It's got to be the stool. Yeah, it's completely the stool. It's tricking me. Yep. When you take the stool away, suddenly the photo looks a lot cooler. Isn't that crazy? It's crazy what our eyes do. Okay, so we've got another one. It's kind of like a medium shot. Definitely a little bit closer than this shot, but I really like these edits. So I'm hoping that given the light, the edits will follow through. And let's see. Near enough. She's still got a lot of light falling on her face. I like that. I'll boost the contrast. Okay, that's a little bit more balanced with the face. It's not just this, a white panel of reflecting light, which is sick in my book. Let's see if we can balance the framing a little bit better. Booyah. We still want that 645 crop because I think it's just a really, really flattering crop. Even when I'm shooting digital with a 1920 by 1080 frame, I think that's what 16:9 ratio. I still think this is better, and I crop my 16:9 ratios down to something closer to this. Okay, so looking over this image, I'm obviously not happy with the stool. I don't think I'll ever be happy with the stool. Especially not in this photo. Dude, I've got an itchy nose. I need to get nose trimmers, I swear. I've got a hairy nose for my age. Okay, so I'm looking at this and immediately she's just like a little bit off. She needs to be a little bit like that. But I think once we change her a little bit, well, first of all, let's just try cropping instead of. All right, let's see what that does. This is a much bigger issue than I thought. This is a spiritual issue, and we fixed it. Sick. Prices averted. Beep 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 beep. I'm looking at my vertical lines here, trying to get them square with the shoulders, because obviously that's going to tell us. It's going to be a strong visual indicator as to how we're doing with the crop and the framing, and it seems to work. Even though the legs are obviously asymmetrical in balance, this top area commands a lot of the eyesight, and so if that's symmetrical, you can usually get away with it. All right. All right, let's do it. I'm gonna copy and paste. Sorry, I was just thinking of like still haven't figured out whether or not I can see people who are looking at the stream. Actually, let's check that out real quick. I'm really curious because I'm using Restream right now. Jesus Christ. So we are live. I wonder, can I watch it? Wow. That's all right. Cool. I'm not going to. I'm just going to get out of that real quick. All right, back to our editing. Wow, I can still hear my echo. All right, cool. Shit. Okay, there we go. All right, so finally we got all this stuff done. It's looking pretty good. I'm gonna clean up the rest of it in Photoshop. So thank you guys for watching that. And then real quick, I got some photos of my extremely handsome cousin in the UK. The very athletic, the very sensible, the very headstrong Jacob. All right, so immediately I'm looking at this. I'm just like, okay, a lot of greens. Let's see if we can do something about those greens. So immediately I'm going to drag the greens down like that, and then do something like that. I'm going to no, actually, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to bring the shadows down to bring him out. A boy is a pasty boy. Nice alabaster skin. All right, let's do that. It's a balance here. It's a balance. This is golden hour. And I honestly want to bring up the saturation because this is such a sick photo. Okay, whatever I did with this greens were fucking was weird. Let's just do away with the greens. Oh my gosh, this is really frustrating. I hate the color green, especially when it's like this, just like overpowering. You know what? I have the perfect solution. Boop. How do you like that? That is so crazy. It doesn't like he looks like he was photoshopped onto this image. It's really uncomfortable for me. Wow. Wow. All right, I'm just gonna bite the bullet. We're gonna go full natural here. Let's bring those blacks up. Yeah, let's do that. Let's do that. Let's do that. Yep. The white's there, absolutely. Kind of like that. Damn, this is a tough one. This is a tough one. It's always photos of family that just drive me insane. Because I'm like, I want them to like really like the photo, so I try to make it as naturally appealing as possible, like it's taken on an iPhone. But that could be it. I think I'm overthinking this, to be honest. I think I'm really just overthinking this. Let's do that. Let's do that. Let's bring the whites down. No, that's worse. Fuck. It's like I call myself a photographer, and then push comes to shove, I don't know how to edit an image. Yeah. There he is. It's coming home. Wow, that is really intense. Such an intense color. I'm gonna copy those settings, bring them right over here. This is another thing, another reason I don't like editing on Lightroom is like the sliders are just so intense. There we go. Jeez, Jacob, give me that smolder, bro. Nice. Dude is attacking the cameraman with his eyes. I love it. Ooh. The desaturation of the yellows is a look. God, this dude's a killer. All right, I love it. All right, you guys. So that's the end of my little video editing session. Thank you for joining. If you've watched it, I hope you've enjoyed it. Again, these things are they're just fun. Every time I go to edit some stuff or a new role, or I'm doing some work that might be of interest, I usually try to stream it. So I might be doing these, might be doing this once a week in the foreseeable future. So.